Can I chat back? Glad you came. You like Ambush, okay? I like Ambush too. It's a great game. Have you been following? I do actually recognise the name, so I have seen you on there. You actually asked a few questions and made a few recommendations. the Zero, yes. Ah, what? I, if there was any way to unvalue twice, no more. I agree. I totally agree. It was just so frustrating. Um, Advancing, trying to do the mission, and it's nighttime. The Japanese foot soldiers who can only see four hexes. I can only see four hexes. Hence the logic of the star shells. And yet this Japanese aeroplane can hit you from anywhere it wanted to. It was bonkers. And I mean, okay, if it's an errata, it's not in the errata sheet that I had. Um, so yeah, if anyone knows exactly where that is, but I thought I've got a house for all this because it was just making the missions just impossible. And the satchel charges, yes. I mean, I know the rules call them satchel charges, the same as demolition charges and so forth, but having to throw them through the window, and I agree. Yes, the zero in daylight, that now would make sense. But what it was doing, just flying all over the place at night time, that didn't. And also, I didn't get the opportunity to do anything about it. That's the other thing. And I'm uploading an episode of Ambush tomorrow, and something happening in that scenario, which I've had no chance to do anything about. Again, all right, random events, but I mean, especially in that Battle Hymn one, I set off a mine, which is right on the other side of the board, and all of a sudden, everything starts to happen with the Japanese. Condition changes, and they're flying, getting into an airplane, flying off, and then strafing it. Why would they strafe their own airfield when I'm still a fair distance away from the airfield? I hadn't blown up a building at that point. Um, and I think I agree with you there, APB. Is I think it's given that a satchel will blow the wooden building, if not a dud, totally. And that's the way I started playing it towards the end there. It just, again, didn't make much sense as we were doing it. But there's not much recourse. I mean, the game was written in 80, no, that's Ambush was 83. I presume that would be about 85, 86. There is errata out there. The sheet of paper I had, it changed quite a few of the Japanese cars, the Japanese capabilities. Um, there was rules written in for the surf and such forth. They missed so much. Now I don't know if that was just a victory game thing or just an ambush thing or battle hymn that they missed so much there. Were the games rushed out? We'll never know. But yeah, a play tester of that must have gone. That don't make sense. But obviously that didn't happen at the time, and now we're starting to find out. But at the end, it was still a fun scenario. I still had fun over it once I actually cut out the zero. The Japanese tank was a little bit bonkers as well. It sort of like curled around. It knew I was going to have to go to the beach, and that's why I just said, "My guys, at the end, if you haven't watched the end, I don't want to ruin it too much, but if you have, um, I just waited it out. You know, there's no time limit on that mission, so just waited for it to when the tank was at the opposite end of the beach, and then bugged out." Again, is that you say the tank should only do 2 passes? Is that an errata somewhere, or is that your interpretation of what should actually happen? Because, I mean, I think I let it do 2, and I thought, "That's it. It's enough." So, yeah. Do you own the game yourself? That's your opinion. Okay, do you actually own the game Ambush and Battle Hymn? And have you played them on a regular basis? You played them all. So of the ambush missions, stroke scenarios, whatever word you want to use, from the core set, I mean, I've only played now 5 of them. I've still got missions 6, 8, and well, because they're not in chronological order, are they? So I've got 3 still left to do. One of them's floating down the river. The 2-player game, I've heard of, what's that called? Shell Shock or something? What do you mean by a hard time? Is it the rules again a bit of a problem? Does it not really work? Yeah. And you've got Move Out, Purple Heart, and there's another one. I can't remember its name. I've got them, and I intend to go through them. Are they of the same quality as Ambush, or are they heading towards like Battle Hymn, where you get the feeling that the play testing was a bit off? So one person, is that in the two-player game? One person takes forever to set up. Is that whoever that person may be, or is that because there's a lot for one person to set up because they're designing or putting things into place for that particular mission? I have been tempted to get it. It's one I don't own. Someone did recommend that it might be worthwhile picking up at some point, but I've held off on it because, well, I've got enough with Ambush to go through in the first place. And with Battle Hymn, the only one I haven't got of that ilk is Leatherneck, and I've looked on eBay and can't find it for love or money. I don't know if it's any good, but that's where the completist side of me comes in. I haven't got it, so I want it. But yeah, as I say, even so, Ambush has got what, 8 missions. Move Out, I presume all the gamuts have got 4, and then so Battle Hymn's got 8, and I assume Leatherneck's got 4 as well. So I've got enough gaming to keep me quiet for quite a while in that regard. Does anyone else want to ask anything? So this is pretty much going into an ambush centric at the present moment, but there are quite a few other games that I'm playing on the channel. I did put a list up of things I don't mind talking about. I mean, I don't mind talking about any games, even ones I haven't played, because I'm always interested in like, what's appealed to people and such forth. I mean, I've seen Compass Games have got Combat, which is again meant to be the all singing, all new dancing ambush. So is there any ambush players out there who play Combat who can give me, is it the all singing, all dancing replacement? APB, yes, I do play miniatures. Not as much now at the present moment because, as if you've seen my channel quite frequently, I'm bitching and moaning about the size of my table space. I don't have the space to put up a miniatures game. I do occasionally go down to a gaming club, and hopefully in the near future, myself and my partner, we are now actively looking for a place to move to. One of the requirements is a big enough space so I can put a table up so I can play some miniatures games, be it World War II, Napoleonic, or even sci-fi fantasy. I've got spaceships, I've got little miniature space marines, but I don't touch Warhammer stuff. But I play when I play sci-fi, a game called Star Grunt, which I quite like. It's a platoon actioned miniatures sci-fi game. I've got a game called Space Core. Is it Space Core or Core Space, which is working on miniatures space, again orientated. It's almost like a heist and a traveler thing, and I do role-playing games too. You like British colonials? I have played with one of my friends who I play games with. He's done a whole setup for Rorke's Drift. I've heard that Ambush doesn't have much replay ability. I haven't played it, but it seems to me the opposite should be true. Well, Michael, I'm actually at the present moment in my latest episode putting that to the test, because what I've seen so far, yes, it does have replayability. Not as much as some games, such that online, like Fields of Fire has infinite replayability. Ambush, you can definitely do the missions at least 2, maybe even 3 times and not encounter the same thing. The mission I'm doing at the moment, mission 2, I've already played it once 2 years ago, and I'm repeating it now with a different squad, and I'm going a different route to see if it plays differently. And so far, I've filmed 2 episodes. What the first one will be up tomorrow. It is different. It feel and it jumps from condition 2 to condition 5. So I've missed whatever's in condition 3 and 4 completely. So that makes you think, well, what have I missed? What have I not got the feel of from that one? And I can't remember when the first time I did it, did it go to condition 3 and 4? I honestly can't remember. And that's the thing. If you play enough games, you get recollections of little bits and snippets, but the way it's playing at the moment, it feels totally different to what I remember. If I did the mission 5 or 6 times, then straight after the bat, yes, it probably would feel a bit samey. Whereas Fields of Fire, you could play mission 1 from that, and because the cards and layout is not the same map, and the enemy could be in different locations and such forth, it feels different every time. Okay, so APB says my preference is one player controlling one figure or one company. Yeah, that makes a good sense. If you play them all, by the time you get back to it, you won't remember what happened. I'm at the age now, sometimes I walk out the door and I can't remember what I've done. So this is why I have one of these things, a notebook and a pen, and it becomes more and more essential the older I get. So yes, um, it's good to balance the practical reality with the rules. Agreed as well. So, and your statement there, make your own version of the rules. Sometimes, yeah, it's at the end of the day, you spent the money on the product. If you're not having fun with it, change it. That's the way I felt about Battle here and that second mission. That zero was just zapping all the fun out of the game for me. It didn't feel right. Now I'm bringing it live to this. Well, not live, but recording it to the screen. I feel I have to make a justification. If I was just sitting in my bedroom on my own playing with the bits of cardboard, I'd just change it willy nilly. But I feel I've got to make a justification, and I think I made a strong enough justification why I did change what I changed, which was making it a little bit harder for that zero to keep whacking me one. So yeah, um, totally agree with you there. So and you want to make it fair. I think at the end there, because I had twisted or tweaked the rules, when I was awarding myself my experience points, I didn't give myself 4 for the win, though technically I did win. I gave myself 3 because I didn't lose either. But because I tweaked it, I thought rather than give myself 4 experience points per surviving character, only 6 got away. I gave myself 3 experience points per surviving character. And that seemed, again, just to balance it out and seemed fair to me. So yeah, we were talking about other ambush and its replayability. So by redoing the scenario sometime later, and because the map's quite big, going a different route, and just trying different things, it makes it replayable in my mind. And all right, there's 8 missions in that box. Then you've got the move out, which has got 4. And as APB said there, once you've done them all and go around, if you can remember the specifics of what happened on each mission, you've got a really excellent memory. So, but again, I bring the question back. You know, I've seen and heard a lot of people say that combat is the new ambush. Have any of you out there played combat? I haven't. It's a lot of money. I've watched one video and I went, I need to talk to someone who's actually played it. If you have a pick squad, it's okay to have John Wayne and Audie Murphy. Agreed. And that's another little thing. What makes me laugh when you read the actual book in Battle Hymn, your pick squad. And I've got, you end up, because of the way the points work, you end up with 2 dingbats who don't know the backside of a barn door, couldn't shoot one. And you think, how is this a pick squad? But That's just the terminology they like to use. And I must admit, now that I've done 4 missions completed with Anderson's squad in ambush, this 5th mission, they are starting to look like a pick squad. Their weapon skills have increased, their capabilities, their perceptions, um, everything is just that little bit better. And it's enough to give you the rub in this in a mission. Doesn't mean I won't still get shot to pieces and such forth. I should imagine that will still happen, but it does give you that feel of an edge. So, you've not played combat? Neither have I, and as I say, it's a lot of money to shell out to then pick it up, play it, and go, meh. Um, that's the thing about these games these days. They are quite a lot of money that you can't just say, I'm going to buy this, and this, and then have a whole shelf that's just sitting there unplayed. One of the reasons why and I mentioned this quite a few times, I started my channel is I had a shelf of shame. I think 90% of us have got a shelf of shame. Play the games. And I've always had a problem playing solo. I've always liked talking to people when I play games. It's not just about moving the bits of cardboard. I just like chatting in general. I like talking about history and how it interacts with the games, how effective the games are, and such forth. And also the after the game chat. Really enjoy that part too. But when I'm located where I am, and a lot of the games I was playing was on Vassal, or now Tabletop Simulator, it was difficult to get to play the games. And that's when I thought, well, why not try a YouTube channel? Other people are doing it. Why not try it? And that has definitely helped me with the interaction with you guys talking there to actually play these games and get them off the shelf and do something with them. APB, you've asked 3 questions there. Richthofen's Wart, never played it. I don't mind air games. I've got Wing Leader. I had the little booklet. What was that called? Aces of Aces. That was good fun. Richthofen's War, never really appealed. Tobruk, never played it. I think I played Quinto's 88. I believe they're along the same sort of lines. Squad Leader, yes, I played Squad Leader. I played Squad Leader before I got into Advanced Squad Leader. I had all the gamuts. I had Squad Leader, Cross of Iron, Crescendo of Doom, and GI Anvil of Victory. I only got part way through with the scenarios of GI Anvil of Victory before ASL came out. And ASL came out when I was living in South Africa. And then it was difficult to get hold of it, shall we say. A little bit smuggling under the table, because then when I was living over there, South Africa was under apartheid, and actually there was an embargo on things like luxury items. And for some reason, they consider games a luxury item. I consider it an essential. Bread, butter, milk, ASL. Makes sense to me. There was 2 games I had to import into the country in an illicit manner. That was ASL and The Longest Day. The Longest Day cost an arm and a leg, but it was definitely worth it. So yes. Squad Leader itself, thoroughly enjoyed it back in the day, but the same with ASL and Squad Leader. The inherent system now needs a serious update, but they won't update it because there's so many scenarios that are written for it. And by update, I mean along with the lines of modern thinking about command and control. Command and control is the biggest thing missing in ASL and Squad Leader. There is none. Solitaire ASL, Sassel, there is. Okay, you've got your little leader. He's got a command range, and he can extend his command range to another leader who extends it beyond that. Anyone that's out of the command range, do a morale check. If they fail the morale check, they panic. They don't do anything. Great. Bring it into Squad Leader. No. Bring it into ASL. No. Starter kit ASL. No, because it manipulates and will break probably about 60-70% of their scenarios. Is that a bad thing? We'll just rewrite the scenarios, tweak them. play test them again. There needs to be a command control set, but a lot of players don't like that. They like to be control of their cardboard warriors totally. And obviously, the overall armored commander hasn't got that kind of control. APB, back to you again. B17. Yeah, I tried it once. Nah, not me. I got. Let's talk about solo games here then. Okay, so I got the hunters, the submarine one. Okay, there was a lot of buzz about this. Is a great solo game. You'll love it. Da da da. Okay, so I picked it up, played it, bought the tears. I did a full campaign. I think I lasted to about mid 42. So I didn't do too badly, but it's just rolling dice. And the dice, I felt that I had very little impact in the game itself. So I thought, well, let's go back to the granddaddy of these kind of games, B17. I picked it up quite cheaply off eBay. Okay. Unpunched copy. I punched it. Yes. I even clipped the counters, even there's no hexes. I just like rounded counters. Set it up, played one mission. I was more bored in that than I was in the Hunters because there was less decisions. My plane got shot, its tail was taken out, getting done by a dice, enemy fighters come through. The only thing I felt I had a decision about was where my machine guns were firing when someone shoot me down. And I thought, what's the point? Yes, it's telling a story, but I read lots of books that tell stories. Okay. And yeah, okay, I play some of these play your adventure books. They tell a story as well. And I enjoy those too. I enjoy them more than I enjoyed B17 because it was trying to tell me, you can move this counter and you could do that. And it felt like, yeah, you're inputting on here, but the end of the dice, the end of the dice, yeah, the end of the dice, it was these things that was telling the story. And I'm not a great fan of these things anyway. Okay. If you'll notice when I play Fields of Fire compared to Ambush, I much prefer a card driven rather than dice driven. Now, that's why I don't like Vassal and its dice bot because I feel it's broken as well. So these things, as many games as I can get which don't use these things, I prefer. But going back on the narrative, yes, it gives a story, but it's a story I don't feel I have control of. Yet when I'm playing Ambush or I'm playing Fields of Fire, it's a story that I feel that I am in control of, and then I'm actively making decisions. I've been playing Ambush today, and the amount of decision tree making I had to do was phenomenal. Do I go left? Do I go right? Do I storm across that piece of open ground? Do I hold back? Do I wait fire? Do I throw a grenade? All those are active decisions, which you do not get in a narrative driven. I roll a dice, it shoots down my tail gun. I roll this other dice, a wing falls off. There's no decision there. Do I run across the road? Yes, that's a decision. Do I throw a grenade or do I try and take him out in hand-to-hand combat? That's a decision. Anything that requires me to make that kind of decision, I like. And that's why I like Fields of Fire. That's why I like Ambush and Battle Hymn and such forth. Wooden Ships and Iron Men. Oh, that's a long time ago since I played Wooden Ships Iron Men. That was back in South Africa as well. In fact, that's a game that I used to play quite a lot with a next door neighbor. He had an affinity for ships. So we played quite a lot of Wooden Ships Iron Man. I then didn't play that game for a long time, and I picked up one which is called Close Sail. Oh, it was done by, I can't remember the company's name. Ones that do the La Bataille system. La Bataille system. Close Sails, Close Action, something like that. And I got a few of the expansions books. I loved reading it, but I still have yet to bring it to the table. So yes, dice-driven narratives. Wooden Ships Iron Men. I would love to play that again. It's good. APB, confidently, I am a fan of your content and wish you all the best. It's a treat to chat. It's been great. Thank you very much for asking all these questions. I say, does anyone else want to ask me anything? Because so far I've talked about Ambush and a little nibble of Fields of Fire. I've got that question out there about combat. Anyone ever played it? And anyone actually can give me a comparison between ambush and combat? Because, as I say, there's a lot of content for combat. Is it replayable? It looks nice, but what I saw in a video is the Germans seem to do bonkers things. APB, what is the best vehicle solo game? Now, I've played Patton's Best. I've done about 3, maybe 4 missions of that. Thoroughly enjoyable, very, very chart driven. Though there was, again, the decisions. There was quite a lot of die rolls, but the die rolls were based on your active decision, which I liked. However, it was, I wouldn't say frustrating. It got a little bit too much with the charts. When you actually wanted to fire your gun, you had to compare here, to compare there, to do that, and this, that, and sometimes you could actually get lost in the amount of cross-referencing you had to do. I did enjoy it, and I do want to return to it. I actually, at some point, want to bring it to my channel, but I'm having too much fun with Fields of Fire and Ambush for that at the present moment. I haven't tried any other one. I know DVG's got one that's out there. They've got Tiger Leader, Sherman Leader. I tend not to like DVG games. I know that's a bold statement. If you watched my recent thing on Ambush where I talked about Warfighter, I can't say I didn't like it. It was just, I was bored when I was playing it. I've played one of their Phantom Leader, Deluxe Phantom Leader. Yes, 90% of the game was actually the planning, and the 10% was the execution. And again, I was bored. So I haven't tried their armored versions. There's massive boxes full of cards and cards and cards, and then you still have to get, or you can get, but you sort of need to get the expansions to go along with it. So I haven't tried that. I know, is it Compass Games? I think have got Tank Leader, World War II. I can't remember the exact names of them. I've seen them. I think there's a British one now as well. Again, it all comes to that, doesn't it? At the end of the day, you can only afford so much. So yeah, I'm tempted, but I've got to be realistic. I'm playing quite a lot of games and bringing them to the channel and trying to actually do. Oh, let's bring another one in. I want to bring this. This is the rule set I'm working through at the present moment. I've done Tarawa on the channel. I've tended to do Omaha because I have played Omaha a couple of times. Thoroughly enjoyed it. That's why I went, let's do Tarawa. However, there's a lot of people that's doing Omaha out there. So I thought, well, let's do one that not many people seem to be playing, which is Peleliu. And I've also got Saipan and I've got Iwo Jima. They're sitting on the shelf. Let's play them. So at the present moment, I'm working my way through the Peleliu rules. I'm probably going to do the first 4 or 5 turns just to see how it works, get it into my head, and then start again and then play it. There's subtle difference. That's always the problem with these games. There's subtle differences between each one. And then when you start playing one of them, you start remembering, wait a minute, I used to do that. Is that correct? Am I doing that incorrect or wrong? Because the Japanese are in Tarawa fairly static, though they have a build up to a big counterattack. What I'm reading here, they are quite aggressive. They come at you. So that's the way the rules seem to come. I don't know until I actually start pushing the counters around and drawing the event cards, but that's what it seems from what I'm reading. I haven't watched anyone else's videos at the moment. I'm actually trying to make my own, and this is the way I normally do it. If there are quite a lot of videos out there, I will work out my own, and then I'll have a look to see what else is out there to piece everything together. And that's what I did with the other game I introduced, well, it's about 6 months ago, which is Air and Armour. The Compass games on modern, well, say modern, World War III, 1985, is there didn't seem to be anybody who'd put out a video on how the game all gelled together. There was talk when I did that at the time that there were going to be instructional videos. They weren't out. So I thought, well, I want to learn this game. So let me just crack out the rules and start playing. And you can, if you watch my Air and Armour, the first few videos, you can tell I'm just a bumbling fool working out how this all fits. But by the end of it, I've got it. Now, Mo, I think his name's Mo, he's done, I don't know, about 60 odd videos on how all these little bits fit together. But still, no one else has actually made a video of it all working. You know, it's all right having, this is how you do defensive fire. This is how you do assault fire. This is how you do this, that, and the other. But that's okay. But you all just need to see this is how it all works combined. You know, and no one else has done one. I don't know why. I don't know why that game's got so little buzz about it, because it's absolutely fantastic. APB. So, Commando PC game. No, never played it. I'm not really a big fan of PC games. Sorry, close combat PC game. No, no. I've got on my PC. I mean, I can actually look at the icons. I've got Second Front because it was meant to be similar to ASL but better. Yeah, didn't really enjoy that. I even brought 1 or 2 episodes to the channel, and I always get the feeling when the computer's doing stuff that it's cheating. I know. Do they? I've spoken to computer games programmers. They cheat. They do definitely cheat because they've got to try and balance out with either numbers or the algorithm or whatever the human being's individuality. What was the other one I played? Gary Gisby's War in the East. Now, play that or Fire in the East? Rather play Fire in the East. War in the East, which is a computer game, it's massive. I mean, it is massive. It looks fantastic. And I've played that opposed against someone, and it works. But I would still rather play on Vassal or Tabletop Simulator with bits that are actual cardboard and rules that I can actually read physically in my hand and make decisions based on that. That's just me. Maybe I'm just old style, but there we go. Michael DePaul, I've never won D-Day at Tarawa, Omaha, or Peleliu, but thoroughly enjoy them. Won't touch Iowa. Why not? Iwo Jima. Fire dots on the map are a must. Oh, I see. That's the one that, yes, it doesn't have them on the map. I totally agree on you. It doesn't mean I wouldn't touch it. I probably will touch it. But yeah, it does seem a bit of a counterintuitive not to put them on the map, because that's where you can actually determine what the hell, where the fire zones are. You don't. It's like when you play a game and it's got an army roster rather than putting step counter underneath for the losses. It's something else you've got to keep track of. Now, I have won at D-Day at Omaha. Tarawa, I thought I was winning, and I was getting so many little rules wrong that I couldn't really count it as a win. Peleliu, well, I don't know yet. I haven't played it. So I've heard it's a beast, that the Japanese are really, and apparently Mr. Butterfield has actually toned down or balanced it out a little bit, and it's still a beast. So, but as you say, it's the actual fun of playing them. Okay, pitting your mind against a system rather than pitting your mind against that again, B-17, etc. You're playing a well-designed, well-crafted system. It's tough to beat, which is what you want in a solo game. You don't want to walk over. Of course, what's the point? Okay, but you want something that's going to challenge you all the way through. And if you get the win, you can actually sit there, lean back in your chair and say, I've done it. Now, there's no one else in the room other than yourself, but in your mind, you know you've achieved something. If I get my aeroplane back in B-17, I know I got lucky on this and that was it. There's nothing that I could have done that was great or not. Same as going back onto the ambush thing. The Japanese zero in that second mission, I had no control over that. That was why it disappointed me so much. It's not like a case I was sneaking up. I randomly go into a hex, boom, a minefield goes off. That sets the alert signal. They go all scurrying around, fly the aircraft, and start strafing their own airfield because one mine goes off. I mean, that could have been a bloody squirrel. Or so I know you get squirrels in the jungle. You know what I mean? It's badly scripting on that particular scenario. So yeah, slight downside of that one. Hello, Bill. Long time no hear. Well, obviously no see, no hear. Bill's a long time player of ASL. We play back when is it? 2010s ish, 11. For a while when I lived in the Gravesend area, and then lives moves on. We're just apart, and actually we've come back together through his contacts and messages on this channel. It's great. He's been watching the ambush. Bill, I still won't touch ASL with a barge pole. No. So, APB, what you say? I would rather control individual characters or a squad, but not battalion or divisions. Different style games. It wasn't 1999. Come on, really? Really, Bill? 1999? Blimey. Yeah, first intensive fire ASL convention. That was 95. So yeah, it could have been. Gee. Oh, blimey. Yep. Maybe 97, 98. God, dear, oh dear. That's when you know you're getting old. Dear, oh dear. Yes. APB, yeah, I mean, that's your level of game that you enjoy, and that's great. I unfortunately enjoy it all. I enjoy my squad games. I mean, ambush is individual soldiers. Up front is individual soldiers. Up front is still, you know, my favorite game of all time. Nothing quite takes away the tension of a decent upfront game against someone who knows what they're doing as well. It gets me on the edge of the seat every time I play that kind of game. Yeah, there's some games that's just doesn't work, or the opponent's not good enough, or whatever. But if you've got someone who knows what they're doing, and it gets to the point where your every card and action and decision just keeps you there. Fields of Fire's coming close, but Fields of Fire is designed as a solo, whereas Upfront's designed as a two-player. Now you can play Upfront solo, and it works. It doesn't quite have the same tension as a two-player opposed game when you've got someone snarling at you. And Fields of Fire, it works as two-player cooperative, as you can see on a couple of the videos that I've been shooting recently, which will be uploaded soon as well. Me and Brendan playing it cooperatively. It works. It's fun. It's great and banter and such forth. But as a directly opposed game, up front is, in my mind, unsurpassed, and that's individual combat. If you've never played it, I know it's hard to get hold of, you know, the rights and such forth. You can. There are certain sites you can buy the cards and such forth and the rules. Get it. Play it. Because, again, about infinite replayability, you could just play scenario A in that with just the Germans and the Americans, never mind the Russians, and every game will be different. Once you bring in the Russians and play against the Germans, every game will be different. Bring in the British, the Japanese, the Italians, the French. I think you can even get the minor allies and such forth. It's there. It's fantastic. Unsurpassed. Yeah, maybe 90, right. AVP. I'm so old. I remember buying these games when they were newly released. Yeah, that's it. You know, Squad Leader. That came out just before I got into gaming. I got into gaming in, say, 77, 78. And Squad Leader was like mentioned as buzzwords and such forth. It was only about 1980 that I got into Squad Leader, and then I picked up. Well, it was a guy that was playing who actually decided to sell all of his gamuts. He decided that gaming wasn't for him, and I got all of Squad Leader in pretty much one lump. Pretty much the same time I got War and Peace and so forth. But yeah, I do remember picking some of these games up off the shelf, and they were fantastic. So we're definitely in a nostalgia trip at the present moment in time, aren't we? So, Bill, GTS and BCS are my go-to games now. GTS, is that the Grand Tactical System by MMP? And BCS, the Battalion Combat System. Trying to get to grips with CSS, whatever that one is. Same design as GTS. Not sure what CSS is. Bill, if you could enlighten me on that one. Definitely Hex and Counter, aren't they? I've looked at, and I think I dabbled, was it Crete? Someone tried to get me into Crete with the GTS system. Rings a bell. I played it maybe about 2 years ago. Didn't grab me that much, but then again, it could have been the person I was playing. Yeah, it was on Vassal, and the logs files were really slow and such forth. So, Paul, you were saying, I would like to see a D-Day at Utah, including the airborne, but perhaps the map isn't doable, too large an area. Probably, because that obviously Omaha is a congested, straight front beach, whereas obviously Utah was more of a push inland and such forth. But maybe they could do it with areas. If you think of things like the Arnhem game, what's it, Storm over Arnhem, or the Stalingrad one, was that come on, someone help me, Stalingrad? Anyway, the area games, you could have areas that are outside the main invasion beach, or even the main invasion beach is an area, and you move in, and how they affect each other. You know, if anyone could design it, it'll be Mr. Battlefield, because he can design these things, but he's got lots of things on his plate, apparently. AV, I think it would be interesting for someone to live stream a game, but the gamers don't interact with the audience. But the gamers don't interact with the audience. They just play the game and they just get on with it and let other people watch. The narrator or moderator or game table referee streams the show. Oh, okay, I get you. So the gamers just play, and then the narrator just talks about the game going on. Yeah, but then you're talking about multiple moving parts and getting the timing, all that for that together. I mean, me doing this was, should I do a live stream? Should I not do a live stream? The first 10 minutes, this is just me going, hello, hello. So getting the people in to watch, and also then getting other people to come in to do that. I mean, say with me and Brendan playing Fields of Fire, okay, that took a little bit of coordination as well. Can you do this date? No, I can't do that because I've got to go shopping. I've got to do this and do that. And so real life is tricky. CSS company scale system, Compass Games. Okay. Well, going on about, again, this is the air and the armor. This is at company level. Now, I presume it's a completely different system, but working at the company level is interesting. It is a nice scale. It's grand tactical, might be a nice way to describe it. It seems to work. And I've now, all right, I've got someone to play that with now. We're going to, we're still going through the very first scenario, which if you've seen it on my channel, I did it first of all solo, then I did it opposed play. With just the basics. Now, me and this other guy called Tom, we're working our way through opposed with the air and the helicopters and such forth. And the EW jamming, yeah, it's all great, all moving parts. Then we're going to play it again, and that's the one I'm going to bring onto the channel. Now, it's not going to be a live game. It's not going to be us talk. It's just me going through the log files like I've done on a few of my videos. Where I go through log files and describe what's going on. He quite liked that idea, because when I was doing that on the other game I played on Vassal, he thought it was great because I could stop what I was doing and saying, this is what we did incorrectly. This is the correct way to do it. And I was adjusting the rules without having to wait on someone else doing their move. I was just clicking through the log file I've done. And it does seem to work on that way when you're learning the system. And I think what I want to do is we play it with the hidden aspect of that. Now, if you don't know what that is, you don't even know where exactly your own forces are. You've got a pool of troops, for example. So if we take the 3rd US Brigade in there, it's got, I don't know, I think it's 8 armored steps, 12 infantry steps, and you've got X amount of counters, like 5 Bradley counters and 4 Abraham's counters. You tell them where you want them to be, and you might put something as a specific hex as a priority. But when it actually comes to the combat and your strengths are revealed, there is a pool chart that you roll on to see, did they all get there? Were some of them ambushed on the way? Did some of them not get the orders and such forth? So where you were thinking you got a defense of, 2 Abraham companies and 3 Bradley mechanized infantry companies, you've actually got 2 guys and a cook. There's nobody there. And I like that idea. It's just taking that little bit of command control that you think you've got, you hope you've got, you ain't got. But also it allows you to be subtle as well and ambush, appear weak, but actually you've got priority strength and you've written that as your priority strength. Your opponent comes there thinking there's not going to be much there because they can see other counters elsewhere on the map, and they hit your main line of defense. And all of a sudden you switch through. So it's a mind game as well. So going back on what you're saying there, Bill, does this CSS have a similar thing? That company level, because that seems to be the level that would actually work very well at. APB, you asked about American Indian war games. I've played Wilderness War, thoroughly enjoyed that. There is an inherent problem though with the CG card-driven games. There you go. Twilight Struggle, Paths of Glory. The American one was the American Civil War one. Can't remember its name. And you got the one on the For the People or We the People. There we go. We the People was the first one. Hannibal. They're all great until you play them quite a few times. Yes, they're again infinitely replayable, but when you play someone who's not played it or played it a lot less than you have such an edge on them. No matter how good they are with the rules, if they don't know that deck too well, you got the edge. If you know it, you can time your game. When, especially, I think the worst case of this was Paths of Glory, because you had early war, mobilization they call it. Then it was early war and then late war, and you were getting different cards out to the deck, so you could trim your deck down to how you wanted it. And if you know how to manipulate that deck, and your opponent was a little bit behind you on that wheel, and that actually then became the game within the game. So what was on the map was less important than what you were doing with the cards. Now, Wilderness War, I did play it quite a bit, but I'm a little bit because it was a long time ago. But I do remember having a lot of fun burning farms and such forth. Then there was the Few Acres of Snow, which I played. I enjoyed that as well. And then someone said, I think it was on Board Game, there's a certain maneuver that you can do if you're the British that will guarantee you the win in the game. I can't remember what that maneuver was, but guarantee the win. Then if you're playing the British, don't do it. I know it's like counterintuitive, but to make it a game, if there is something that breaks the game and you're the British and you know it, don't do it. Work out another way to win. Make out a fun way to win. That's the way I didn't research. I said I saw a few messages that were saying that if the British do this, and I said, I can't remember what it's called. There's no way the French can win the game. Then just don't do it. What's the point? Explore other avenues. So, okay, APB, have you ever simulated the fog of war by writing down orders a turn in advance? Then if circumstances change, you must follow through on your written orders. Yes. Okay. The Gamers games. They had a series. Black Wednesday was one. Metallica was another one. GD 4041, where you actually everything was written. Objective Schmidt was one I played quite a lot, but back in the day, they had a written order system. You planned all your things in advance and then you followed it through, and then you had to pass on communications through the actual game. So thanks, Bill. Great to hear you. Keep messaging on the ambush games. The ambush is coming. There's an episode coming up. I say I shot 2 today, and first one is dropping tomorrow. And then the next one will be in a couple of days' time after that. I had fun playing them. I hope you'll have fun watching them. So, yeah. going back on Fog of War. Yes, there are various ways you can manipulate and I have done it with the La Bataille system. The Bataille system doesn't have a Fog of War rules as such, but I have played it where I have replicated it with written orders using because you've got aide de camps in that, moving the little guys to change their orders and such forth and get there. And do they get lost or not lost and such forth? So it all can work. It depends on the person you're playing with. You see, again, going back onto my statement, a lot of people don't want to change ASL or squad leader because they like to be able in total control of their pieces. And again, what you've written there, communication between characters can only take place if they're actually close enough to hear or see. Agree. Absolutely agree. But again, you're talking about getting a lot of people to replicate that. Or if you're playing it against someone, you've got to playing someone of the same mindset. I want to play with command and control difficulties. And a lot of people that play these games don't. They like to be in control of all the pieces that they've paid their money for. They paid for the counters, and if that's the way they want to play it, that's fine. And again, I don't have any problems playing it that way. I've got no problems playing it with the other. Let's just see, with a bit of fog of war. Let's have written orders and such forth. And at the end of the day, as long as you're playing games and having fun, as my little mantra at the end of my every video, that's the most important thing to me. Play games and have fun. If you're not having fun, do something else. Go fishing. Go and play golf. Yeah, I think Churchill got that one right, didn't he? But yeah, do something else. But if you are having fun, then do it. If you better still, if you can find someone to have fun with while you're doing it, that's great. I've got quite a few people I play different kinds of games with. My daughter, we play RPGs, we play things like Terraforming Mars and such forth. I did try her on Fields of Fire. I did try her on Ambush. She enjoyed the Ambush a bit because I was playing the rules and narrating it. She was just moving her guys along and working out, shall I throw a grenade through the window or do this, that, and the other. She loved that. Give her a set of rules to go through, and she was like, nah. Which I don't blame her. There are some people that can read rules and some people that can't. A lot of people learn by people like myself telling them the rules or instructing them the rules or learning that way rather than reading a piece of paper. I've just had this knack, I don't know why, that I can read a set of rules and visualize how the game will sort of work. Sometimes when I actually then get to move it on the map, it's different to how I visualized it, but I get quite close. And then I'm halfway there, and then I read the rules again, and then I read them a third time whilst I'm actually still playing the game, and it's all gelled, so on. Other games that I wanted to chat about, if anyone was interested, was Sixth Fleet. It's one I've been bringing to my channel. It's an old Victory Games game on naval combat in the Mediterranean. Having quite a blast with that with a guy called Harry. Not a lot of gamers. Yeah. Live in a town of 600 people in a corn and soybeans field. Not a lot of gamers. That's why Vassal was such a godsend. Vassal and now Tabletop Simulator and such forth, allowing us to play people that we'd never dream of playing. I mean, one of the people I play a lot of games with, Randy, lives in Texas. I can't remember, did he contact me? Either I contacted him or he contacted me via wanting to play up front. And then we played a bit of ASL and such forth. And now we're playing Fields of Fire. Never met him. Likelihood of me getting all the way to Texas to meet him, I can't really justify an air flight just to go across to America and just go, hi. Love to go to America. I've never been. I'd love to go to a convention in America. But again, that's a lot of money to go and spend a long weekend playing games. I'd like to actually save up enough money to do that and see a bit of America as well. Give us a chance to see all the exotic things on your shelf of shame. Ooh. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put up some photos. I think there's on my communications tab in the post. There's a shelf of shame photos on there. Though that has changed. The thing is, as I say, I've got limited space at the present moment. So I did have a shelf of shame. What I've actually now got is a storage room of shame. Because a lot of my games are in big plastic tub boxes in a storage room, stacked on top of each other. So what I've actually got in my little flat at the present moment, the games I'm actively playing. So when I fancy playing another game, I have to troop all the way down the storage, and it's not drive, it's just drive to the storage unit. I've got, yeah, this is where I get anally retentive. I've got them all listed in on a spreadsheet, what box it's in, where it's in that box. I go and say, right, I fancy play Labyrinth, for example, it's the recent one I've done. I fancy bringing that out. So I went down there, opened the box, got Labyrinth out, and then had to put something in. And I put in Red Dust Rebellion. Let's not go there. Okay, so they brought that back, and now Labyrinth is sitting on my shelf. So, but I still haven't got to got to it because something else came in. Oh yeah, Buy Swords and Bayonets. That was dropped through the letterbox pretty much the next day, and I was like, oh, this one, Buy Swords and Bayonets. So I'm actually playing a guy online with this at the moment, a guy who's never played any Great Battles of the American Civil War. So I'm instructing him, and I'm still making mistakes with these rules. 54 episodes of Into the Woods, and still making mistakes with the rules. They are an exceptions of the exceptions of exceptions type of rules. So yeah. One advantage if I can shoot my M1 Durham from my front porch. Yeah, you can't do that in England. You might hit someone's sacred squirrel or something like that and get arrested for doing that. Never mind just hitting someone by accident. Yeah, now that sounds interesting. Being able to do. I have fired a few weapons. I've held a BAR, never fired it, and I've held a Lee Enfield 303 and fired it, and fired a Bren. For my shoulder sins anyway. God, that was painful. Recoil on that thing. But yeah, that's something we just don't do it over here in Britain. It's just not the done thing, Dale Tingley, I am getting more into solo games. Do you like naval games, i.e. the Hunters, Picket Duty? I also just purchased the Peloponnesian SP War. Are you familiar with it? Okay. So, Dave, you obviously just joined because I went on a little rant about the Hunters. No, I didn't like the Hunters. Because, and I'll repeat myself, fear is there's so few decisions the player actively has to make. I like games where I'm sitting there making the decisions all the time, such as Fields of Fire, such as Ambush, where I am actively engaged in what that unit is doing. Whereas in the Hunted or the Hunters, B-17 and all that lot, narrative-driven games, that is what decides what happens. That is telling me what is going to happen, what is going on, and such forth. And I feel no urgency or commitment to it when that is telling me. Yes, it creates a story, but I can get a story also out of Fields of Fire, and I have actively made that story, be it positive or be it sometimes disastrous, but it's down to the decision I've made. Picket Duty, I haven't looked at, so I don't know if that's. I've seen it. I've seen the pictures of it. I don't know much about it. I think it's about motor torpedo boats, isn't it? But maybe you can clarify that one on there. Purchase the Peloponnesian War. I think was it the Victory Games that did the first edition? I think it was Mr. Herman's game where you play one side, and then to balance the game out, once you're doing really, really well with this one side, then you switch sides. Is that the one? I don't know if they've done it the same way. I vaguely remember playing it once or twice, way back when. I don't know. I have heard it's been re-released. I haven't touched it or brought it or picked it up along the way. BAR is very slow in auto. Well, it's not a machine gun, is it? It's not designed for that. It gives the squad the extra firepower and the oomph, and that's what I definitely use it for in ambush. But it's not like a Bren gun or a MG34/42, is it? It's not in the same ballpark at all. You consider the Bren a crew weapon or an automatic rifle? Definitely a crewed weapon. The other guy, all right, big difference between it and a proper light machine gun such as the MG34/42 is the MG42 and 34 are mainly belt driven. Yes, you could get, I think there were round magazines for it and such forth, but it was mainly a belt driven weapon. So the crew guy was feeding the ammunition through. With a brain gun, he doesn't need it so much because he's got a cartridge he fits into the top and loads. But the other assistant was there to protect him with his Lee Enfield, plus also carry all that additional ammo because a Bren gun, though has nowhere near the rate of fire as an MG42, it has a considerable rate of fire compared to everything else around it, i.e. the squad and what the other German riflemen were firing back. So it does go through those magazines quite quickly. And it can go in single shot. I'm not sure if an MG42 can go in single shot. It would be I would be interested in seeing Picket Duty. Wolfpack or D-Day at Omaha Beach are great solo games. I don't know about Wolfpack. I've seen again that advertised. I don't know if it's like similar to the Hunter. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to dig into because I do like submarine games. I played, what's the Compass Games one on the Silent War. I got that. Is it Silent War? Yeah, it does the whole Pacific naval submarine campaign. Great game, great detail, great decisions. It's just so long. It takes forever to play and goes on and on, and then it becomes too repetitious to the point of I'm getting bored now. Now, I believe on the new second edition, they put a lot of smaller scenarios into it, so I might look at that because I enjoyed it. Wolfpack, I did try because I was really into Silent War at one point. I got their German one, whatever that was called, Steel Wolves. And then by that point, I'd worked out that Silent War has that problem of you're doing the same thing too much, that it becomes too samey. That I never really cracked out Steel Wolves. So Wolfpack, yeah, maybe that'd be interesting. But again, is it narrative? Let the dice control what you do, or is there actual decision trees that you've got to make? If you could let me know in the comments, that'd be great. D-Day at Omaha Beach, yeah, fantastic. I say I played quite a few. Well, I won't say quite a few. I played it about 4 times ish. I played the initial learning scenario about 4 or 5 times on its own, and then played the complete game. And I've only once done the full 20. I think it's 24 turns. Right to the end. I've done quite a few of the 12 turn ones. Those are the 4 that I've mainly done. And I've won it once. It's hard. It is really, really hard. And Tarawa, yeah, that's even harder. So yeah, those Japanese, they are tough little devils. So yeah. Going on about so far, yeah, I've covered air and armor. D-Day at Peleliu, yeah, that is I'm working my way through the rules at the moment. But I'm having too much fun with Fields of Fire and Ambush. And that to the end of the day is what I want to do. I want to have fun. If I can project that across, great. I've got to say by Sword and Bayonets, I was thinking that would make a great introduction to it is a great introduction to the Great Battles in America Civil War game, where I've got Into the Woods sitting up there. That's saying you haven't played me in 6 months. That's very true. I would like to bring that back to the channel as well, but I have to really get back into the actual system to do so. Band of Brothers, I brought a few videos of that lately. I've picked up the latest one of that, which is Stalin's Favorites. Myself and a guy called Pierre are going through a scenario at the present moment, which again, I'd like to bring to the channel. There seems to be a fair bit of interest in it. So I did mention Sixth Fleet. Me and Harry from Finland, we're playing that game on Vassal. I've done the first 2 turns of scenario 5 of that. We've now finished scenario 5. We're actually now going on to scenario 6, which is called the Libyan War. But I want to bring the remaining turns of that to the channel at some point. But I need to sleep too, and I do work, so I've got to fit it in somewhere. And I've got a partner that says, Can we go out now? Can we go out now? I love playing games, but I like going out to do, to my gigs, to football and all the rest of it. So, yeah. Anyway, other games that I've got and been playing and bringing to the channel, Enemy Action Kharkov. That's another solo game. Well, two-player stroke solo game. I tried Enemy Action Ardennes. I thought I'll have a wise idea. Let's play that. I thought on the 80th anniversary of the Battle of the Bulge, I was going to do it day by day by day. And I thought, I'll play the Americans. Okay, it can't be too tricky, can it? It was tricky. I did it the wrong way around. When you actually read the rules, it suggests when you read the two-player rules, or in fact, all the versions of the rules, it says right at the beginning, which I ignored. Moving on, it says quite clearly, play the two-player game first, because that's got the least amount overhead of the rules. Yeah, whatever. Okay, then, this is the Ardennes one. It says, then, when you got that under your belt, play the solo Germans. Yeah, whatever. Then, play the solo Americans. No, not Mr. Sibley. No, Aaron play. No. Let's take on the Americans. Let's learn this game that way. That was hard work. And yeah, so I have now played Enemy Action Ardennes two-player, and I've played the two-player solo, and it works as well because the cards make it unpredictable. You can play it that way, and it works as a solo game, even in two-player mode. And I've done it that way. I still haven't played it. This is the Ardennes one, as the Germans solo, or as the Americans solo, but I'll get there. And Enemy Action Kharkov is the same. So I will be doing the same. I have played it two-player, and I've also played it two-player solo mode, but I haven't as yet played it as the Russians solo or the Germans solo. But I will be doing that to the channel at some point. Okay, is there a solo market garden game? Well, I hear that Enemy Action, Mr. Buttercliff again, he is designing a Enemy Action market garden. That's what I hear. When it'll be released, don't know. Is there another solo market garden game? No, I can't think of one off the top of my head. If anyone else knows in the channel or in the chat, let me know. Let APB know. So, anything else? Russia Besieged was a game that I've been working on. It's actually in the picture there. I've just completed a playthrough of the game, Opposed, and I've kept the log files. So if there's any interest in that, let me know in the comments of this video. It was fun. I think it definitely needs to be redone again because mistakes were made on both sides. But yeah, it was fun while we were playing it. Solo Afghanistan. Isn't there a coin game called A Distant Plane, which is in Afghanistan? And that's got solo bots in it. 1800s or modern? Again, modern would be A Distant Plane. I think even the front cover has a British soldier on it in Afghanistan. I could stand corrected on that. Coin games. I could rant and rave about coin games. Now, I've tried a few. Not all of them, but a few. I was introduced to coin games via A D and Abyss. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. It's okay. Then I saw there was a Vietnam one, Fire in the Lake, picked that up, and I love Fire in the Lake. I think it is a great design. It works. It works one player against the bots, and I've got about 50 odd videos of me playing it against the bots, me playing the US, and I keep promising at some point I'll play it again as the NBA. Back to that time thing again. And so, yeah, so that's all. Coin works. So I picked up Falling Sky. Oh man, was that dreadful! Oh, I was so bored playing that. I was playing that. I played it twice against other people, and I played it once solo. Maybe it was the wrong people. I don't know. I played the Bell guy, which was the yellow faction. Man, it was so boring. The people who were playing the blue, can't remember the names of the tribes, and the Romans, yeah, they seemed to be having fun. I wasn't. So, and the person, no, I think the person playing green, that was it, playing green, which was the main. So the main two factions, they looked really quite okay. Something was happening. But even when I played them solo against the bot systems, it's just, yeah, it didn't work for me. Um, and then I just I tried Cuba Libre. Yeah, didn't really get on with that either. What was it? I did try one more recently. Can't remember. It was just it whatever it was, it didn't grab me. But then I saw that they were doing one on Mars. Now I like games on Mars. I like Terraforming Mars. I say that's my daughter's favorite game, or is it, could be Ark Nova now. But anyway, we both like Terraforming Mars. We like the Ares edition. We like the proper full game. So I thought, okay, if I could get this new one, Red Dust Rebellion, and it grabs her, that may mean I could get her to play Fire in the Lake. So it's the same system. So eventually, so P500. All the pictures look fantastic of this Red Dust Rebellion. Yay! It arrived. Wow, absolutely beautiful production. Apart from one thing, why do they call Red Dust Rebellion? The actual counters for the Red Dust people are like a pinky mauve. I don't know, but anyway, um, so we set it all up. We got punched all the pieces out, got it all set up, followed the instructions, went through the playbook step by step. Okay, and then right, playbook finishes. Off you go. Have a bash yourself. What do we do now? I'm not sure. Oh dear. So we sat there scratching our heads and such forth. So I said, "Tell you what, let me go and play this at home solo. Bring it up on the. I played it on Tabletop Simulator and I played it on the Vassal module. Still, struggled with the bots. Then someone said, "Oh, there's an app that does it for you." I thought, "Yay, great!" So I tried the app. Okay, and I thought, right, I'll play this. Which faction did I try first? The government. That's right. I tried the government first. I think it was the government, Mars government, whatever. You got the corporations. You got other two factions, the Red Dust rebellions, and some religious cases. So I played the Mars Gov. Yeah, and within 4 rounds or so, I was so far ahead in victory points. It was like, okay, now when you're playing against the bots, you can only win at the end of however many rounds or whatever between winds, storm phases. You can only win between different storm phases. So, but the apps didn't give, or the bots just didn't seem to be giving me any proper competition. So I thought, okay, let's try it differently. I'll play. I think the second time I played the Red Dust Rebellion makers, and again the app just whatever cards it was choosing didn't seem to work. I was again storming ahead on victory points. So I thought, all right, let's ditch the app now. I've sort of worked out what it's doing. Let me play with the bot cards. Let me figure my way out. Whereas the bot seems to work in the Fire in the Lake, it doesn't seem to work. Though it's a similar design, I don't know if it's just the way it worked. It just didn't give a balanced game. And so I said to my daughter, I said, it doesn't work. We'll put that time, and that was the game I put back into storage and brought out Labyrinth, which is still sitting on the shelf, not played. But still, I was so disappointed. The production, as I say, is beautiful. In fact, the history that he's interwoven, whoever the designer is into there. And as I say, with 4 dedicated gamers, it probably could be a blast. But finding that 4 dedicated gamers. See, I've got a group of people I play games with on a Tuesday night. My daughter, my partner, a friend of my daughter's. we play games, we play Terraforming Mars, we play Ark Nova and such forth, um, and simpler games of the same sort of ilk, Carcassonne and so on, family games. But actually say, no, let's try. I was going to try and get Red Dust Rebellion to the table, or eventually maybe even Fire of the Lake. No, no. Red Dust Rebellion was no, it broke me on that idea. They're just either too complex or too up up their own buttocks for that. So yeah. Right, David White. Sorry, I went on a little rant and tangent there. So, David White, I play Monty's Gamble MMP area movement game solo, although it's not designed as a solo game. I have played Monty's Gamble. I haven't played it solo. I played it opposed. Um, it was okay. It didn't get me the same as Turning Point Stalingrad or Breakout Normandy. I felt there was something missing. I've tried also their other one, which is the one on the Japanese Edison Ridge, is it, or something like that? Again, and I've also played again using the area system, one on DMPMQ. Can't remember what that one's called, but yeah, it's okay. Give me Turning Point Stalingrad. Give me Breakout Normandy. I even like Monte Cassino. I didn't like Storm Over Arnhem, maybe because it's too congested, too much in the same. You don't get the feel of actual maneuver and such forth. APB, enjoying our chat. Keep being inspiring. Thank you very much. That's what I, hope to do. I want to project my enthusiasm for our hobby, because I've got a lot, onto some of you guys. That's what I say. Last thing, play games, have fun, because that to me is the essence of gaming. We don't, if you're so serious now that, to be honest, I used to be a serious gamer. When I used to play ASL, I used to go to competitions and conventions and again, when I used to curse these things when they rolled against me and such forth. I was a miserable git for quite some time. I couldn't put, I think maybe because of my personal life, things weren't great. Work wasn't too great. So I was expecting my gaming to be perfect and it wasn't. Therefore, life sucks. Everything sucks, And yeah, it did. It didn't stop me gaming. Just I meant I tried different games. And then eventually I stopped playing that competitively. And all of yeah, I still want to win. Don't get me wrong. I still don't like it when these things go against me. Who does? But it's more important to have fun with the person you're playing with, or even solo because I'm playing with you guys, than it actually is to win. The story, the narrative, the action, the feelings and emotions that it can portray. Yeah, play games and have fun. Breakout Normandy is good. It's better than good. Come on. It's is it excellent? That one, if I had to rank the initial 4 by Avalon Hill, so Storm over Arnhem, Monte Cassino, or I can't remember the one, Thunder at Casino. There we go. Got there in the end. Turning Point Stalingrad or Breakout Normandy. Turning Point Stalingrad is the one that, if someone said you could take one to a desert island and then only one, that would be the one. Breakout Normandy is a close second. Then it would be Thunder at Casino, and the last one would be Storm over Arnhem. Even though that was the first, and when that came out and there was none of the other 3, I thought, this is a good idea. I like this because it was revolutionary for its time. Great idea, and yeah, I think Breakout Normandy. The reason why it doesn't pit Turning Point Stalingrad, I think it was that one slightly larger scale. Each game is going up as a scale because Storm over Arnhem is platoon level, then Thunder at Casino is company level, then you got Turning Point Stalingrad is battalion level, and then finally Breakout Normandy is regimental level. I think that scale, is better at the battalion, and it seemed to with a Turning Point Stalingrad, and it seemed to just work. I've even tried Turning Point Stalingrad with the extended game, and when you're grinding through the actual street, it does feel like a grind, but it feels like a worthwhile grind. You play some games that are a grind, and you're just grinding grinding for grinding's sake. No, you can feel you're trying. As the Germans, you're just one big die roll, and again, that's the dice coming in. But you're just one big push away from it, and it's just that you can taste it, you can feel it, and the Russians just pull it away from you again. Great fun, absolutely great fun. Breakout normally doesn't quite have that tension to it. I don't know why, because it is. I brought it to my channel. I did a playthrough. I did it solo. It is a lot better as a two-player game. Again, because you're not quite sure what the other person's going to do, obviously. And that was one of the big things I have with two-player games playing solo. I'm not very good at it. I've done this quite a few times where I've got to get. I mean, some of the big ones like Fire in the East, I've set it all up, got all the pieces out, got all the core markers and everything ready to go, and I look at it and go right, and then stop and go, but I know what they're gonna do the other side. And that's where this channel has helped. I did a couple of years ago back now, Anzio. I did that solo, but it's a two-player game. And there I introduced some cards that's not in the game, just to work out where the enemy are going to, where the allies are going to invade, because I'm playing both sides. I didn't want to know ahead of advance where they were going to land. And that kept a sense of suspense and made the game playable for me as a solo. Yes, I get the history, but if I know exactly what the other side's going to do, that does make it tricky. I know there's people who switch off. Oh, just try the best you can for as long as you can. Yeah, but if I know I'm going to try and do a flank maneuver, the other side's going to react to it. Now, there are many systems that are in place that can counteract that. So if we use, again, the Into the Woods, which are the great battles in the American Civil War as an example, where you actually have activation chits, you don't know what's going to be the next chit out of the bag. So that's great for playing solo, because you can play that and just concentrate on that particular force amongst their general battle plan. But the next chit could completely spoil that, but you don't know that's going to be the next shit. And that's why I enjoy games that use that kind of mechanic, because then at least there is no perfect plan that you can counter. Again, I suppose some of these other games that don't have that, you could write that in as a written order and such forth, but that's just that extra bit of work, isn't it? So a little bit more time commitment. So, yeah. I think that's about really me now saying to you, is there anything else you guys want to ask me? Because I've talked about sort of the games that I've got on the channel at the present moment, want to either bring back to the channel or would like to bring to the channel at such points. The only one I haven't touched that's on my little list here, because I can't make up my mind if I want to bring it to the channel, and that is the Lock and Load's World at War 85. Now, that was one of the things I've started right at the beginning with Storming the Gap, because there is a solo system in there to play the game solo. I recently got Blood and Fury, and I've opened the box, pulled all the bits out, and put them back in again. There's a lot of stuff there. It looks interesting, but it's going to be a major time commitment. And I'm just not sure if I'm ready for that, because as I say, I'm having such a blast with Field of Fire. Now, I know that I've got about 4 campaigns going on Field of Fire at the present moment. I think I even made a video. Well, I know I made a video saying why yet another campaign, because they're all different. Yes, it's the same scale, but they've all got different terrains. They've all got different effects. They've all got different combat capabilities. The enemy in Normandy, you're fighting in the Bocage. You go to Korea, suddenly it's empty mountains. Totally different mindset. Okay, I'm playing one with the US Marine Corps. They are so kitted up, it's ridiculous the amount of kit they actually carry with them, and they go into there. And I'm doing that is I think that's also in Korea, isn't it? Yes, I looked at doing the Peleliu one, and I was like, too many. I haven't yet touched the armored rules in that. So, let's go for a little Fields of Fire dive here. Okay, so in the Normandy one, there's no vehicles. I mean, you got a Jeep, okay, but there's no real anti-vehicle interaction. So I don't really know vehicle rules at all yet. I've skim read them, but I haven't needed to deep dive into them. Okay, so I want to do the Battle of the Bulge at some point. I want to finish Normandy, then go into the Battle of the Bulge. But that's got stacks of tanks, so I need to get my armor head on for that. Okay. Again, I think APB mentioned what's the best armor game. I don't know. Is it going to be Fields of Fire? Because it's by far the best infantry game at the moment, except for up front if you're playing with just a squad. But yeah, so for a company level game, where you're playing a company, Fields of Fire, and then you've got all the extra add-on bits to it. As I say, I've only just started playing Knight. Got to get my head around. You're going to get so many orders and such. Well, I'm using a D4 to keep track of what's going on Knight. And then with playing the Marine Corps, I'm now playing my first defensive mission. Totally different mindset. I'm facing a human waves. Okay, their human waves haven't been very strong at the present moment, but they could be. Different mindset. So I've got to get my head around that. Urban warfare. You've got different cards for your wares on the normal open. You've got a card with a picture. Yeah, nice. It's a woods or it's an orchard or whatever. Okay, and you find cover on there. You found if it's a village, you might have found a building or something like that you can hide in. You go and do urban warfare. There's 4 or 5 different, or maybe 3 different covers that you can hide and get behind and so on. So yeah, so that's why I like Fields of Fire, and that's why I'm thinking I'd like to do World at War 85. It's finding the time to do World at War 85 and do it justice. So there we go. As I said, anything else anyone wants to discuss? Because I think I've been rabbiting on for blimey an hour and a half now. Yeah, about games. I love them. But I think it might be time to give this a wrap. So all I can say is for those that joined in, those that asked questions or statements, all I can say is thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. APV channel, you've been very, very prolific on here. Thank you. You've asked some really interesting questions. But I think it's time for me to say my final statement, which is if you enjoyed this, please make a comment. If you're late to the party, give it a thumbs up. It all helps the channel. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, it all helps. And until next time. And hopefully will be next time. I might actually do one every now and again. Play games. Have fun. Bye, Internet.